looky here. It's the Pat and JT podcast.
Pat and JT podcast.
So if you've subscribed to our podcast, you can do that anywhere, like iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. You can do it on our website. You can watch? What are you watching? You can listen to our podcast on our website, patandjt.com, where there's links everywhere. And but a lot of people, and actually you can do this on Spotify as well. You can also do it on the Stitcher player if you're listening on the app. But you probably didn't even know that you could, and I don't know why you would ever need to slow down a podcast or even speed it up, to be honest with you. But you have the option, specifically in the iTunes one, you can go at normal speed, speed and a half, double speed, or half speed.
Okay, so let me, on that note real quick.
So weird. I don't know why.
A guy, John, I'm going to explain it to you. A guy, John, wrote in and said, hey guys, I was listening to one of your podcasts. I'm a little behind. I actually catch up by playing the episode at 1.5 times. So it's kind of fast, not too fast where I can't understand. My wife hates when I play it fast. She doesn't seem to understand what you're saying, but this allows me to listen to you guys and to catch up. So that's why.
All right, I guess
that's why they listen at one and a half. So speed us up sometime. Try that, Pat. And
after we slow us down a second, then I'll speed up because I'm right at the right time we need for our
Heidi?
slowdown.
Oh, okay, good.
Then I'll speed us up.
Let's go ahead and do that. Then I'll finish his note. Because on that note, while we were talking about speeding and all that other crap, somebody had written, and Peggy wrote in, said, you guys need to slow down. Podcast 195 with Heidi. JT's talking about discovering the DQ cheeseburger and Heidi's reaction. Apparently, it's something else. Preet. That's where I discovered I liked the Dairy Queen cheeseburger.
Oh, yes.
Holy smoke.
It's insane. That's talk about game changing. Those things are, and they're fries.
Somebody woke Pat up.
Yes. It sounds like some stoners on the couch and somebody just walked in with Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Now, if I go back 15 seconds.
You sound like you just woke up. You really do. You sound like you just woke up. Like you lifted your head up. That's game changer.
And then went right back down on my face on the beanbag chair. Oh, let's listen to that again.
Like diners.
Yeah.
There was no fast food. So, yeah. Crete. That's where I discovered I liked the Dairy Queen cheeseburger.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Holy smoke.
It's insane. That's
that was
talk about game changing. Those things are, and they're fries.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So dumb. So dumb.
It takes so little.
Oh. Holy cow. Okay, and then here's us. Here's double time.
This is how John listens to us. So hello, freshman 15.
And that's double time. Let's do time and a half. Let's see what sounds.
He listens time and a half.
Okay, so we'll do time and a half. Here we go.
You know,
With a blizzard. Oh.
You know, I still played sports in college, so for me, not to say we didn't put on weight, but it might have been more, weight room weight.
Yeah.
Muscle. I like the idea of it. I mean, in theory, it's a good idea. Wouldn't you? I'd end up driving 115 miles an hour, though. Get from Omaha to Lincoln in 15 minutes. Why? Oh, I don't know.
Because I'm to a degree, but I caution saying muscle with me because I was like, on a good day, $1.25 soaking wet. Yeah. I know that's hard to believe today. For me to be pumping myself back then, I don't know. But I have to laugh because it was beyond that when I got into the real world, into the cubicle land. And I was like, when's spring break? They're like, we have PTO.
Wow.
The laugh.
The laugh.
I'm out of breath.
That is. I don't think I took a breath.
No.
Like IRL the entire time listening to that. I don't know how John, right?
John did that.
John, I don't know how you listen to it at even time and a half because it's like.
That's funny, but I'm afraid to laugh because I'll miss.
Yeah.
Like 2 minutes worth.
Yeah.
Well, he goes on to say, anyway, he says, I wanted to reach out to ask if you guys know of the guy that finds the wedding bands. I lost mine vacationing in Galveston, Texas this year in April. Would love to connect with him to get my ring back. Love listening to you guys. Keep up the great work. I found the story. And the story, we did this a while back. I think, what number did I say it was? 150 something?
It was like 158 or 159.
151? I don't know. Anyway, but I did find the story and I sent it to him. And it's an older gentleman. And the ring that he found was 55 years old on a beach in Florida. And had some really unique name engraved inside it. But that guy, he loves doing that. He's found tons of wedding rings.
I bet, yeah.
It's a crazy story. And I did not post it on my Facebook page like I said I would.
Oh.
I lied.
Oh, see, that's how we were going to go look for it. Went back and listened.
I had to do a little extra digging.
Yeah.
But I did find it. So I will get that posted. So we will have it up there.
Okay.
Then, we talked yesterday about Jamie and her sister Lisa, and they found the treasure trove of stuff from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Jason posted a picture just a few days ago and said, I forgot to let you know when I posted this last week, you guys were talking about things you shouldn't have anymore.
Yes, I remember. Okay. Yes. Things you just, yes.
You just shouldn't have anymore. And he says this picture is of a bookcase. Excuse me, is of a bookcase that what I counted was 11 shelves, but they're just big enough shelves to put CDs in. So 8 inches, 6, whatever it would be. There were 11 shelves, 3 across, so 33 areas.
Okay.
Approximately 25 CDs in each one.
Jeez.
And not all of them were full.
That would be a lot. How heavy would that shelf be?
I don't know, but some of the shelves were kind of drooping.
Bowing,
a little bit.
yeah, I bet.
Just a little bit. Said, don't judge too harshly on the nerdiness of the lower shelves. You can't read all the titles. And there were some specialty whatever at the bottom. There was an Apple box, even more in storage that he said he has of CDs. Because we were talking about, do you still have CDs? Nobody should have CDs anymore. At least not in public, not on view.
Right.
That's why he posted. He was like, this is what I have in my basement. Here is my wall of entertainment. Because it used to be you'd have your TV, your big tube TV, or a corner model TV, right? The floor model TVs.
Take up like at least 50 square feet.
They're huge. And then you'd have the storage for all your DVDs. They were probably DVDs that he had, DVDs and CDs. DVDs and CDs would be all stored there next to your entertainment center where your huge stereo system was.
Yeah, and
with the giant speakers.
And there's no need for any of that anymore. So why keep it? Why keep the CDs? You don't need the CDs.
All you need is a smart speaker and a flat screen TV that you can lift with one hand.
Yeah. That's it.
It's crazy.
And anymore, Amazon Music is free if you're Prime.
Yeah.
Apple Music is $9 a month, or $14 for a family plan. Like I would gladly
Spotify's
pay.
free if you listen to the commercials.
Right.
They don't play that often.
So you don't need to pay anything. So just throw those things away, man.
Go to YouTube. You can listen to anything for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's crazy when you think about that whole industry, how much money it generated. People buy, because you buy the CDs, they're like $9.99, $14.99, anywhere in there, and then you go back and look at all the CDs you have in that pile of money.
Yep. Yep.
Sitting there collecting dust in a basement somewhere. But you don't have to do any of that. Isn't that crazy that it's
awesome.
all been replaced?
Yep.
It's no wonder they fought so hard to not let it happen. But you couldn't change it. It's like the corner movie store.
Because they thought the record industry thought maybe some people saw ahead and saw where the technology was going, but for the most part, they didn't understand the digital download. People always want to buy tapes, CDs, whatever. Yeah. And so they kept trying to pull people back into buying CDs. And finally they just gave up and said, you know what? We got to figure out a way to make money on this.
Well, Blockbuster, I mean, there were articles and even, I think, commercials at the time where they literally made fun of Netflix. And Netflix wasn't even really in there. It was just a startup. And I got Netflix because I lived out of town. So going to
Blockbuster,
any of the
Hollywood Video,
any of the video stores was a pain in the butt.
I think you started to say something with a D?
No, I was trying to stop I was trying to stop myself before I said anything.
I'm going through all my body parts. Thinking what?
It was a pain.
Okay.
And so I got the Netflix. Like I was a real early adopter to Netflix, and they'd send you the CDs or the DVDs. I'm sorry, send you the DVDs, and then have you have to rip it open carefully.
Yeah.
Because then you'd have to put it back in the now new envelope that would seal to send it back to them, and you couldn't get any more until you sent those back.
So crazy. And there's still a lot of people that do that. I heard a story a couple weeks ago. I don't even know what I was read it actually, which I don't read much, but it was that there are.
You don't have to apologize. There's nothing to be embarrassed
about.
I
feel ashamed. There are close to 3 million people that still get DVDs from Netflix. Over 3 million
and it costs
accounts.
Exactly the same as having the app.
Yep, and they went on to explain why, and a lot of them are rural that don't have high speed internet yet.
Right.
So, but that's a lot.
That's got to be something for a lot of people that a lot don't realize, that there are people that don't have high speed.
My
internet.
parents. I mean, right? 1 degree of separation, and they're
is that a want to or can't do?
That's a can't do.
They can't.
No,
do
they can't unless they physically can't because they're like a half a mile off of a main street, and it's a gravel road, but that shouldn't be an excuse. But there's a whole bunch of really super.
The internet won't jump gravel,
right? Well, it's crazy, but the super rich people like
at the lakes.
Yeah, at the lakes. They have Cox and CenturyLink.
Not to stereotype y'all,
but CenturyLink and Cox won't run any sort of nothing down to my parents down that way. They won't. They just can't do it. So they would have to get like a tower for like satellite internet.
I had a tower on top of my house in Juniata. I was north of Juniata, a couple 3 miles, and I had a tower so I could have because I like gadgets. So I was living in the wrong place. I was living like 2.5 miles north of Juniata, northeast of Juniata, and that's west of Hastings. And I like gadgets. So Web TV came out, and I had, I wanted internet when we moved out there. And I was like, well, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to find a way. Yep, they came out and put like a 6-foot tower on my house. So I could get the dial-up sound going, wing,
and being out there,
it
miles
like
away.
Even though it wasn't dial-up, it still had the wing when you tried to connect. I don't know why.
That's one thing, like being in the middle of nowhere, like that, and needing a tower, but being within a golf ball drive of people that can get wireless anything, and they can't do it. That's craziness.
I don't understand it. That's true.
I think it's just a cost thing. And my parents even said, "We'll pay to have everything. Like we'll do it.
Yeah,
we need the service." And they won't.
They won't do it
because it is an absolute.
Step back in time.
Oh, it's.
They have to go down the well to get water.
Yeah, well, they have well water.
They do have well water. Not that kind of well.
And
is it a well?
It's pretty well. It's a well.
I love that commercial. I also hate it, but I do love that commercial.
So annoying. So come on, Cox and CenturyLink, let's get going. My parents need high-speed internet. We'll go visit them more.
Because the whole county is basically Omaha anymore with subdivisions, right? Mm-hmm. Elkhorn's a sub-community, right, of Omaha. So it's like the city of Omaha. Everybody should be able to get high-speed internet in Douglas County.
Yep. Thank you. From yesterday's episode. That's another thing that the government should get involved in. Point of sale charges.
This is a God-given right. Is that what you're trying to say? We need to add this somewhere to a document.
I need to get a hold of AOC.
Oh my God. I think you don't. Okay, now let's see. I got another one. Oh, I almost forgot. My Saunders County Sheriff's Department, Wahoo, Nebraska. Every week they put out Fugitive Friday, and it's exclamation point, 4 of them. It's Fugitive Friday.
I love these. These are hilarious.
Who can you help us get apprehended this week?
Oh, gosh.
Number 1 is Carissa Tim, 37 years old.
Oh, a lady.
Mm-hmm. Wanted for 3 warrants, failure to appear, driving during suspension charges, last known address, U10.
Okay.
So there's a criminal in your midst, U10. Number 2, there's only 2 this week. Sean Robbins, 47 years old, and wanted for failure to pay fines on a DUI 4th charge.
Good Lord.
Last address was in Howells. So all tips are confidential, and there's a possibility of a reward because you can go through Crime Stoppers as well. Just saying.
A little public service right there for Fugitive Friday.
Fugitive Friday. I'm trying to clean up Saunders County.
Right.
That's my goal.
A little bit at a time.
One criminal at a time. Clean up Saunders County, damn it. There are not a lot of criminals there, so it's kind of that's okay because then when you do something wrong, you stand out.
Right. The worst thing that ever happened was Fugitive Friday for these people.
Oh my God! And like the papers in Wahoo and Ashland, they come out once a week, and there's always that back page that has all the court cases. And I mean, Wahoo has their court, that's where the courthouse is. So Ashland doesn't necessarily have everything that Wahoo's paper has in it, vice versa. But you have the police blog that's in the Ashland paper. So if you get arrested or get pulled over for bigger crimes, all the marriages and divorces, land sales, transfers.
It's so funny to think. I know that,
and you look through everything to see look for a name you recognize.
And it's crazy that the newspapers still exist. It really is. I get magazines, 100%. I get that, but like the daily newspaper or even weekly newspaper,
And the weekly paper, another thing that I love, and I don't know that they do it so much anymore. There are two things. One that they do still have is it's like a remember when section. And on that date or that week, they go back 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70 years and pick a story or at least a headline. And every once in a while, you'll see something. Because my dad grew up there, too. Mm-hmm. And so I'll see something about my dad or my grandpa.
Oh, that's cool.
And the family, 40, 50, 60 years ago or more. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then another thing they do is they have the one that I don't know that they still do so much, but they used to always have kind of a go-to-meeting section. And it was basically who went to whose house for dinner.
Oh, my gosh. Are you serious?
So-and-so hosted a dinner party for 6 people, and so-and-so and so-and-so
What?
were in attendance, and this and that. And people would tell, it was like a society page. It was like who was who.
And what they ate?
And just sometimes they'll have the menu, and it was just, or my grandma used to have card parties. And so all the ladies who were in the know would come over for the card parties. And she'd have 4 card tables set up in her house. So you'd have 16 ladies.
Episode of The Sopranos.
I mean, and they were all in their Sunday go-to-meeting clothes. Generally, because they were all, and then there was just gossip central.
So who would call the paper, and give them the information?
They were all more than happy to, but there was one woman who was the society, the editor. It wasn't the editor. I think Art Redessel was the editor at the time. I don't remember who was one of the contributors, so to speak, on the street, on the street beat, and collecting the society news about, maybe so-and-so's grandchildren came to visit, or
what? That is crazy.
So-and-so went on a trip to go attend the graduation ceremonies from college of their grandchild or something, or of their daughter or whatever. But there was that kind of went on.
I would think that. I mean, that's crazy interesting. That kind of stuff. But I always thought it'd be really funny for a small town ish, whatever, Ashland or Wahoo, to have a paper or website or something, kind of like a TMZ, where it's not lying, not making stuff up about people, but catching someone, seeing somebody just disheveled at the grocery store, taking a picture, finding out who it is.
That's pretty much what that page came out.
I love that.
It was Facebook before Facebook was even thought of.
I love that.
Because everybody was posted. There was those little subtle humble brags that people wanted to post. And that's how they got it done without having to do it themselves, because you had a society writer.
That is awesome.
Isn't that great? Or who went to what restaurant in Omaha?
Which is is crazy.
Yeah, I'm remembering just little tidbits, because Grandma's name was always in the paper.
Yeah,
because she was,
she was it.
She was in that little ring. She was, kind of the mean girls.
That is, I'm sure she's mean girls.
But they were a hoot. I mean, you talk about. Seriously, the who's who of town, and it was the banker's wife, and it was this and that, and families that had been there for generations. But they'd come over and they'd play bridge, and Mom or Grandma would always make sure she had plenty of pennies, because then the girls, or they'd bring their own, because they only bet pennies. They still gambled, but they only bet pennies. And then she'd have peanuts. There were salted peanuts in dishes.
It's getting crazy.
Sometimes
any cocktails?
I don't remember that. I don't remember cocktails.
They hit it well, probably.
I'm wondering.
I'm sure they did. If they were eating peanuts, betting with pennies, I'm sure they were getting.
It had to be more than iced tea, right?
I would assume.
I don't know, because I know Grandma rarely would have a drink in front of us with me. Let's just say that. But every once in a great while, she'd decide she needed a beer, and that's why when my grandma passed away, she's buried in Iowa. So every year on Memorial Day, when we go visit graves, and we always have a beer with Grandma.
That's cool.
At her gravesite. Yeah.
That's pretty
So
cool.
we always have to grab some. And this last year, we forgot to bring beer. So we had to stop at Casey's on the way over and get some 11 in the morning on Saturday.
Do you pour the beer out?
Drink it.
Oh, I forgot.
Excuse me.
You're not pouring one out for your homie. You're slamming one for your homie.
Grandma can't drink beer. I know that. I'm not silly.
Let's not get crazy.
We're just having one with her.
Yes.
Yeah. So Dad and I'll have a beer.
That's awesome.
Yep. So, yeah. So anyway, let's see. Back to messages and such. I think I've got all mine in.
Yeah, we're good on this side.
Are
on
we
your
good?
texts and your voicemails 402-403-9478. Love getting those in, and also on our Facebook page as well. It's
Fugitive
Pat and
Friday
JT.
is good too, so we're good there. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
you.
I was just saying it's Pat and JT. That's our Twitter, Facebook, and our Instagram. All those.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a big thank you to Kugler Vision, They are the supporters of this podcast, and we really appreciate when you get a chance to just let them know and say thank you to them for supporting the podcast, whether it's on their Facebook page or even on our page. Just tag them if you get the chance, just so they know you're thinking of them, because they also did something in return, and kind of a thank you and appreciation to the people that are subscribers of our podcast. And because you're listening, you get to hear what the deal is. As a thank you, they're offering a $500 in savings on any vision correction procedure that the doctors deem appropriate for you after you go to your consultation.
That's significant.
It is.
It's not like hey, here's $5. Thanks for
No.
$500.
$500, and all you have to do is mention the podcast. The code word is Pat and JT 2019.
It's that just remembering that is worth $500.
Right?
Yes, Pat and JT 2019.
Told you to pay off to listen.
Right. Yeah. Right. Like in a big way.
So go to KuglerVision.com, schedule the consultation, and be sure to let them know, too, that you heard about Kugler Vision with Pat and JT and the Pat and JT podcast. But then don't forget to mention, hey, by the way, Pat and JT 2019, wink, wink. Mm-hmm. They'll know what you mean.
Love it. So have a great rest of your day whenever you're listening to this. It's our podcast. You can find it anywhere. It's Pat and JT.
Pat and JT podcast. A Parkville Media Production.